Welcome everyone to the October monthly fine arts virtual meeting. We've been having these every month. I think every discipline has been that my colleagues here at the SDE are in charge of. We're just trying to check in with you and make sure that you are still standing through all of the craziness that is happening. So I'm glad to see that all of you are still here. If you have colleagues that missed the meeting and you think there's something that they need to hear, feel free to send them the meeting recording link that I'll have on the website afterwards, and I will also have the agenda there. So if folks miss it, they can get to that information later. I'm going to share the screen, and you'll notice that the first thing we need to do is make sure that you have those letters in the front of your name. So if you haven't done that yet, added your subject area to your name, that's super helpful when I sort you into breakout rooms here in a little while. So go ahead and do that. You can click on your photo, or you can pull up the participants list. It's down at the bottom of your screen. And then you should be able to add a D for dance, or a DT, or an SDD, whatever your job combination is for drama theater or speech drama debate, M for music, and VA for visual art. Okay, so to get going today, I just have a short poll to kind of see where everyone's at and how you're feeling. So you can click the link on the agenda to get to the poll everywhere document. Let me add the agenda link one more time, just so everyone has it. And poll everywhere. So first question, how are you feeling this week? So you can pull that up on your device. Hopefully somewhat okay. Maybe not, which is okay too. Meh, yeah. I think that could maybe apply to many folks. Irritation, perpetual. Better. Hey, it's not bad. Cheerful. Okay. So we have a combination of feelings happening. There's some positives in there with the negatives, which I think if you're feeling the negative, you're not alone. Don't worry about it. You're in the same boat with many, many people. Okay, next question. What's working for you as you navigate this time? If you found something helpful, it's probably some sort of an online tool, but anything, go ahead and share, because I'm sure it could help someone else as they're navigating. Meditation. Oh yeah, the smaller classrooms. If you're on the AB, or even if you have all the students, there's some that are staying home, and that just completely changes the dynamic when we're used to having such crowded classrooms. Ed Puzzle. Seen a lot of folks mention that. Yeah, fewer students. You have lots of time, well, more time for individualized instruction. Maybe not more time though, really, because you're trying to catch them up if they miss things. Recording. Oh, a friendly relationship with Canvas. That's good. Media presentations. Giving the students a little bit of ownership. Assignment submissions. That is one nice thing. If you're using a platform, you can see exactly when the students gave it to you. It's not a, I gave it to you before lunch, don't you remember? Maybe you laid it on the counter and you forgot where you put it. Not that I would have done that, but you know. Okay, last question. Where will you go once it's safe to travel, meet family, friends again? You have a place in mind. Maybe it's a local place, or maybe you're going to get on a plane, go across the country. Spa Castle, that sounds great. The beach, Surrey, to get to family. Ah, St. Augustine, that would be nice. Travel, get to family. Washington State, that's where my family out there. Hawaii, that's even better. Wow. I think everyone needs a beach vacation after this, or a vacation of your choice. Hugging grandkids, yes. And go do those normal things that we're missing out on. I think it'll take quite a few years before I take those things for granted again. I'm sure many of you feel the same way. Yeah. Okay, so long story short, seems like we're hanging in there. Keep going. If you're feeling discouraged, I'd encourage you to reach out to a colleague and ask for help, because everyone's feeling the same stressors, I think. And they can help. They have ideas. That's what they're there for. So today's meeting, what you can expect, we have some announcements to get going with. And then we have Emily Claudet from the Oklahoma Fall Arts Institute, who's going to share with us what their sessions will be this year. It's going to be a little bit different than going down to Quartz Mountain, as some of us are really used to. So I'm excited to hear what they have to share. And then we'll have lots of time for discipline-specific discussions. So if you've got questions about what to do with this project and trying to teach it to kids online and in person at the same time, etc., bring your questions to your colleagues, and hopefully someone's has at least the start of an answer for you, if not the answer. So first announcement, the Oklahoma State Department of Education was just awarded a $5 million grant. The grant is called Expanding Access to Well-Rounded Courses Demonstration Grants Program, which is a really long title. And when the call for the grants came out back in May, I sent it to my supervisor and I said, well, this says well-rounded. Does that mean the arts? And he said, well, yeah, it could. He said, what are you thinking? And so we started brainstorming and thought of some ideas and decided we would go for it and apply. And what do you know? We were awarded. So in our grant proposal, we pointed out that we have 20,000 students, 18,597 as of 2018, who attend schools with no fine arts classes. So there's no music, no art, no dance, no drama theater. The high school students that are part of that, there's about 2,000 of them. And in order to get their fine arts credit to graduate from high school, they take an online art history course or something similar, and then they're finished. So they have very, very few arts opportunities in those schools. So our goal with this is that we're going to develop 8 hybrid courses. So they'll be online and in person. And our goal is to have these courses be culturally responsive and sustaining for the students. There will be 30 teaching artists working through the grant, and they will help teach those courses, focusing on non-Eurocentric arts across rural Oklahoma. And we're really hoping that we'll be able to have quite a few tribal teaching artists working within the grant, and the Osage and Chickasaw nations have already partnered with us for this. So that's one perspective we're bringing. I'm hoping to also reach out to other diverse groups and make sure that we have lots of voices at the table as far as the teaching artists go. And you can see the funding there. Oh yes, and all these courses will be available for free. The schools will be recruited based on how many arts classes they offer. So if a school offers none, which many schools in the eastern part of the state that are smaller, that's the condition, So we'll really be targeting those schools, but we'll be reaching out and working with other districts too if they'd like to expand the arts offerings that they have. So right now, we've hired a grant director. Her name is Regina Kenton. You can see there on the agenda. Some of you might know Regina. Gina taught in Putnam City Schools. She taught orchestra for quite a few years, got her master's degree, has most recently worked at Oklahoma Christian in their administrative professional development department. So that was her job before she came here. We're really excited to have her directing the grant. She just seems great. Some of you might have worked with her either at OU, that's where she graduated from with undergrad, I believe. And then she also was the strings liaison for the Summer Arts Institute for a few years. So might have seen her there working with students. She's a cellist. So she'll be in charge, and she's going to hire 2 art specialists to work on this grant with her. And those folks will be responsible for helping train the teaching artists and helping the UCO art professors build online courses. And those courses, how it'll work is every month, the students in the schools will work through a weekly arts course online. And on the 4th week, the teaching artist will show up and lead them through an in-person dance lesson, art lesson, music lesson, etc. For the elementary kids, that would be self-contained in their classrooms. And for the high school students, we will be busing them to central locations. So a small high school, you'll have an arts course that the students would enroll in. There might only be 10 kids in the room. They'd all have their own computers since we're all one-to-one now, and be working through the course on those 3 weeks. And then the 4th week, the kids who are enrolled in the dance option would be bused to a high school to have the dance lesson. The students who are enrolled in music would be bused to the high school to have the music lesson, etc. So they'll have 8 different months of lessons throughout the year. And at the end of the school year, they'll have a small intensive for a day or 2 days in the case of the high school, where at the end of it, they'll either put on a performance or an art show, art installation, those sorts of things. So they'll kind of have a cumulative experience at the end, kind of imitating the Summer Arts Institute, but not quite on the same level. So the Oklahoma Arts Council is going to help us with teaching artists and figuring out those pieces. And then OU is helping us look at the effectiveness of the whole program and making sure that we're meeting goals, etc. So it's really exciting. I wish that I was in the office full-time all the time so that I could hang out with these folks. I don't think we've ever had this many fine arts people hired at the Oklahoma State Department of Education. So it's a big change in perspective. I think it'll change some things in this building. So positive things happening here, and we're ready to get started. The whole program will start next fall. So that's when classes will begin for the students, etc. Oh, and in case anyone's wondering, those 2 art specialists, you need to have 5 years successful teaching experience, maybe some experience doing professional development, online lesson planning, course development, which many of you have now, and then a certificate in one of the 4 arts areas. And you would not necessarily be officing out of the SDE here in the Oklahoma City area. You may be able to work from home. So that's something that's a little bit different with this. You'd be coming in on Mondays, I believe, once we're back to normal. So yeah, and the job applications for those 2 positions will be out here in the next week or so. So if you're interested or know of someone who would be great to work on this, who thinks outside the box, pass it along, because we're ready to interview people and get going. The next thing that I have on the agenda is the grants for social studies or culturally sustaining and responsive teaching. So every year there's a grant cycle for any teacher to apply for, and it corresponds to the standards that were passed the year previous. So social studies came right before fine arts, so that's why it's social studies. And then the other focus area is the culturally sustaining and responsive. You could apply as an individual or a team for $1,000 to $5,000 to be used for supplies, materials, and equipment. And you can find more information on the website. So I'm thinking for the arts that if you're maybe planning on expanding your music library to include more diverse voices, you could get funding to buy music through this grant. If you wanted to add drumming to your classroom or whatever it is to be more culturally responsive, you could use this grant to do that. If you would like to add a new art project, you could use this funding to do that. So consider applying. It's quite a bit of money, and the application is not complicated at all. So if you have any questions, let me know, but definitely check that out. It's a great opportunity, I think, to have a little bit more money maybe for this next year. And then for our visual art educators, there is a conference coming up on October 24th. Our state art educators conference was canceled, of course, but we are encouraging folks to go to the Wisconsin Art Education Association virtual conference. So there's a link straight to that right there. And it looks like it's going to be very good. So I encourage you to check that out. And if you're not an art educator, or even if you are, make sure you're looking at your professional organizations for virtual opportunities. They have many of them. And some of the things that they did, it kind of seemed like all the professional development came in just a deluge in August and September, and they've recorded all those webinars and things and put them on their websites. So you might go check some of those things out if you have a moment. Maybe they can help you with the situation that you're facing. So I am going to ask Emily to dive right in and share about the Oklahoma Fall Arts Institute that is now online.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. I'm so happy to be here with you today and grateful for the Oklahoma State Department of Education and Elizabeth Mon for giving us this opportunity. I've seen a lot of familiar faces in this crowd today. It's fun to see you in your element, in your classroom, or in your home and not at Quartz Mountain. When I look back over the last 6 months, it feels like the Oklahoma Arts Institute has reinvented itself in many ways. While it wasn't possible for us to experience the magic of Quartz Mountain during the Summer Arts Institute in June, we were able to create magic through an intensive online learning experience for Oklahoma's most talented high school artists called OSAI at Home. And it gave us an opportunity we've always dreamed about to expand our programs to even more young people across the state, very similar to the grant that we just heard about. We've just launched the OSAI at Home Academy, aimed at giving underrepresented and underserved youth in Oklahoma a taste of the Quartz Mountain experience through online learning opportunities with our faculty. Teachers had an opportunity to nominate eligible students to participate. Students applied, and starting this week, we're providing accelerated education to 86 motivated and passionate young artists over the next few months. We're very excited about the potential to impact even more young lives in the future through this program. While the Academy has taken much of our time and attention to get it off the ground, we've also been slowly developing online programming for educators and community artists as well. Some of you may be familiar with the Oklahoma Fall Arts Institute. In a typical year, we offer arts workshops at Quartz Mountain for adults over long weekends in October. Since we're not able to safely hold workshops at Quartz Mountain this fall, we're offering a series of online arts workshops called OFAI at Home. Public school educators always receive full scholarships to attend OFAI, and the virtual version is no different. Educators are also eligible to receive professional development credit for participation in these workshops. We'll be publicizing and opening registration as plans take shape, but I wanted to tell you about the workshops that are currently open. John Bertels is a professional development specialist through the Kennedy Center and has become an expert in virtual learning. John will be facilitating workshops aimed at helping educators build virtual skills. First, a two-part series on Wednesdays, October 14th and 21st, so starting next week. Those classes will be at 4 p.m. and those classes will focus on how arts educators can adapt to a new and rapidly changing digital reality. Also, John will be leading a workshop on October 28th at 4 p.m. where he will share tips, tricks, and techniques for innovation in your art form, either at home or in the classroom. And we will also be offering a screenwriting workshop called Building a Script from the Ground Up with writer, producer, teacher, and consultant Tim Albaugh on Saturday, October 24th. You can either choose to enroll in the morning course or stick around after lunch for an even more in-depth study of screenwriting. And then Alan Tinkham, who is the conductor for the celebrated Chicago Youth Symphony Orchestra, he led musicianship classes for our instrumental musicians at this year's online Summer Arts Institute. Because the faculty and students found it so enlightening, we knew Oklahoma's instrumental music educators would find it just as valuable. So Alan will be leading a 4-part series called Fostering Musicianship. He'll be exploring a variety of non-instrumental study techniques, which will greatly benefit band and orchestra students alike, regardless of whether they are learning from home or in the classroom. This workshop for instrumental educators will take place at 7 p.m. over 4 Monday evenings, October 26th, November 2nd, 9th, and 16th. And there are many other workshops on the horizon. We plan to offer a couple more workshops for educators. And as always, we will be offering arts workshops for all artists, educators, and community artists alike, including painting, photography, and writing. And just a reminder, public educators automatically receive full scholarships to attend OFAI at home workshops. Information about our upcoming workshops will be posted on our social media platforms and on our website when they're confirmed. So be sure to follow us on social media for more information about future offerings. Our handle is OAI Quartz. That's OAIQUARTZ. And finally, I just want to say to all of you educators out there doing your best and giving your all, even with the most unimaginable circumstances, we salute you. We want to give you all the resources we have available to us. So don't hesitate to reach out to me anytime with ideas or questions. I'm also going to post a link to our website and my email address in the chat. Thank you so much for your time today.
And if any of you have questions for Emily, you could certainly pop them in the chat right now or send her an email and she will get right back to you. She'll be on top of it. All right, so we are down to discipline-specific discussions. I'm going to sort you into breakout rooms here in one moment. If you haven't added a letter to the front of your name, then I will be asking you which room you want to go in here in a moment because I'm not sure where you need to go. So everyone else, be ready to click the link. I'll bring you back at about 5 till or so. If you need to sneak out of the breakout rooms, then thank you so much for coming. I hope you get some helpful information between myself and your colleagues, and hang in there. Many of you have fall break coming up, so it will get here and that will be a great break for all of you, I am sure. So here we go, breakout rooms. Hello all, welcome back. I'd like to thank you all for coming again today. I hope you got some help and made some connections. If you ever have any questions, please feel free to reach out anytime, or if you want to be put in contact with someone, I'm getting to know more and more folks, so I might be able to find an email address for you somewhere along the way. So hang in there. We'll meet again in November. If you need some time to talk to colleagues or learn something new, maybe you are more than welcome to join us, and let people know if they missed today that the recording will be available online. So thank you all. Have a great evening.